Welcome in, everybody. We're going to be getting going here in a moment. Just want to make sure we can get everybody in the space here for our second topical workshop. Also, want to remind everybody here that we are live streaming this one today. Lloyd will drop in the live stream link here in a second. Please share that widely. Would love to have as many folks drop in and take part. And again, we'll be getting going here in a minute or so. Please, as folks are dropping in, rename yourself on chat or on Zoom. That'll allow us to know who is here and what role you are playing. So VC folks have VC after their name. If you are a vendor, please label yourself accordingly. If you're on the budget committee, label yourself accordingly. If you're a DRep, label yourself accordingly there. That'll allow us to know who is in the space as we're getting people settled in. Wonderful. We're getting some great numbers here. A few more folks coming in from the breakout room. Wonderful. Waiting room jumping in. Welcome in, everybody. Here we are at our second topical workshop focusing in on marketing and innovation proposals. We'll be getting going here in a moment or so. Just hang tight. All right. Wonderful. Okay, one more person joining in from the waiting room. Perfect. A few more in. And again, for folks just joining us, please rename yourself on Zoom so we know what role you're playing here in this workshop. Are you a DRep? Are you a vendor coming to share a proposal? Are you an observer of the process? Helps us to know who is here as we're getting a sense of the room and people jumping in. So we'll wait just one more minute or so here, and then we will get underway. All right, I see a few more people coming in. Again, please rename yourself here on Zoom. For the role you're playing here in this workshop, are you a DRep? Are you a vendor? Maybe you're a committee member. That helps us at a glance see who is in the space. Again, this is being live streamed today. So welcome to all our folks joining on the live stream. Lloyd, if you can drop that live stream link in again on our Zoom chat, please share widely. Love to get as many folks jumping in as possible. All right. We got a good number in here. We're going to kick this off. Welcome, everybody, to our second topical workshop, this one focusing in on marketing and innovation proposals. We're going to have an opportunity to hear a variety of pitches from folks who are pitching proposals here in these areas. My name's Eric Skogsberg. I'm the lead facilitator here from Voltage Control. Worked with many of you here before, so great to see a lot of familiar faces. I'm joined by my colleagues at Voltage Control, Britta, Kat, Susan, and Sherry and Dirk here today. They're going to be supporting at different points, and then a whole group of you all from Intersect and the wider community. So welcome. I'm going to turn it over here briefly to Danielle, who will share a few high-level details, and then we will get underway with these pitches. So Danielle, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I just wanted to basically cover, if you had been in the last workshop, it'll be the same, but just high level orientation on the process before we get into vendor pitches and discussion. So I'll go through that in about 5 minutes, pretty briefly, and then we'll kind of kick off in earnest. Let me share screen properly. Sorry about that. Okay, so we are at a super high level going through this budget and treasury withdrawal process that exists for Cardano. So The super high level, the things that as an ecosystem we need to do to be able to withdraw funds from the treasury is number one, have an approved net change limit. There are currently 2 active on chain for voting. So if you're a DREP and you haven't looked at that yet or haven't decided, it's a good time to vote on that, and that it will be expiring before the end of the month. The next step is we need an approved budget. So when we talk about the budget process, it's basically in this step is getting to the point where the ecosystem agrees on a budget. Once those 2 things are in place, then treasury withdrawals can also go on chain for voting. And that is the point at which the funds actually move from the treasury. And those will be sent to the administrator or administrators, which would be identified within the treasury withdrawal itself. And then from that point forward, it moves more into what will look like a bit of traditional combined with Web3 contract management using combinations of likely smart contracts plus real world legal contracts. And then the vendors who are contracted will complete that work. So that's the macro cycle. And again, we're focusing when we talk about the budget process on getting agreement on the budget itself in that red rectangle. And so there's 2 major phases happening in the 2025 budget process. So the first phase is proposal submissions and review. This is where we are now. That will end April 24th. The purpose here is to gather proposals from vendors in the ecosystem who want to do work for Cardano. And then second, for the DReps and the community at large to review those proposals, comment, and for the vendors to kind of update and iterate them. The way that we will engage or are engaging folks throughout this process is the proposal review workshops. So this is the first one of several that we'll be hosting. And when I say we, that means basically Intersect is hosting, and then in GovTools itself. So asynchronously, GovTools allows for commenting and pulling up and down on those proposals. Others in the community, I think Tempo Vote, are also building tooling around this, so you can kind of pick your favorite tool there. Second is after April 24th, the proposals and the polling up until this point will basically be taken a snapshot of, and then we move into reconciliation. So reconciliation is where we look at all the proposals as a whole and try to come up with a holistic budget info action, most likely more than one info actions, one or many are possible, that reflect direct preferences on all of these proposals that we're going through. So in that phase, we'll also make sure that the budget as a whole does not exceed the approved net change limit. And then also for DReps to sort of make their final signal of what they think should go in that info action. And we'll be doing that through reconciliation workshops, which are scheduled at the very end of this month and early May. So where should you focus? This depends on what role you take in the ecosystem during proposal submission and reviews. If you're a DREP, this is the time to be reviewing the proposals and engaging in conversations with your delegators, the vendors, or experts that you may want to have an informed opinion and understand what has been proposed by the community at large. For proposers, this is your time to be submitting proposals, as many of you know, monitoring the feedback you're getting in GovTools primarily, but any other channels that you're getting feedback, and deciding whether or not you want to update your proposal accordingly, and also attending relevant workshops to your proposal. And then for Intersect committee members, this is their time also to be doing reviews and providing any expert advisory that they wish, and also attending relevant workshops. When we get to reconciliation, the suggestion is you try to attend reconciliation workshops, because that's where the final conversations will be happening to figure out what goes into the 2025 budget info actions. So this is a final calendar view, and we are trying to keep everything in one Luma calendar. So that's the QR code here. We will be having proposal review workshops also on Thursday, Friday this week, and each of them have different time zone availability. And then also the 24th, 25th, and then reconciliation, the 26th through 28th, and May 3rd through 4th. We are also using the budget AMA sessions as extra time slots available for vendors to pitch their proposal and for DReps to engage with vendors, and also to continue some discussions on the budget process itself, such as the smart contract for managing funds dispersed from the Treasury, which is something that Intersect is building with Sunday Labs and Cerberus. So we are also using X spaces as well. So any of these touch points that we are pulling together to give time for proposal review, for vendors to pitch, this will all be in this one Luma calendar, which I've shared the QR code here. So that is my quick orientation spiel. If you have questions, put them in the chat. We'll do our best to address. We have several folks from the budget committee also on the call here. I'm on a task force supporting the execution of that, such as these workshops. So give us questions if you have any. Otherwise, I'm going to hand it back to Eric to get us started on some of the pitches and framing.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Danielle, for that overview. A couple of things before we dive in. Quick reminder to everybody about a few things here for people new to this space, just to keep things both running smoothly, but also respectfully here in this space. I just dropped into chat a few pop-up rules or commitments, agreements that I ask for from everybody that should be familiar to a lot of folks from the constitutional workshops. First, be present in this space, turn off notifications, things that would be distractions, so you can really give your full attention here to everybody who is submitting and pitching, so you can give them your attention. Trust the process here. Some of these processes or methods may be new to you. We've used them across your community before to great success, and so even if they are new, we'd just ask that you trust us as we guide you through this. Listen to understand versus listening to persuade folks. This is really about your being open and supportive and respectful of others versus just jumping straight to convincing other people of your viewpoint first. Move back and move in is really about equal airtime. So if you're somebody who would normally take up space in a conversation, nudge yourself back. If you're somebody who wouldn't normally speak, nudge yourself in and really keep an awareness about how often you are talking, not just taking up space, but giving room for other people. And then finally, seek progress over perfection. This is going to be an opening today, and we will continue to iterate on this process based on what we learn. So briefly, before I share one more thing, just ask if you're willing to commit to these, just give me a thumbs up where you are. Either your thumb or a Zoom thumb will be a quick check-in. Wonderful. I'm seeing those all come up. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. And please use chat as it's helpful for you to drop in thoughts, to drop in feedback. Again, with so many people in the space, we won't necessarily get to hear from every single person. But that's a great space that we're going to be cataloging pieces there. So in a moment, we're going to start our first pitch. And these pitches are really an opportunity for both the folks who have proposals to get a rep in sharing about what they are proposing, tightening things up. Each proposer will have 5 minutes for their pitch. And then we'll have approximately 5 minutes for feedback and Q&A from the audience here. And again, this is really about being supportive, helping people get the strongest proposal out there possible. Danielle, do you have the order here all ready to go?
Yep. So we have 7 slots in this brick. Is that correct?
That is right. That is right.
Okay. So it looks like somebody has edited my slide. 1 second.
No
The
worries.
first, well, let's just kick off with the 4 that I have here, and then I'll go search for the remaining 3. There
Okay.
will be Cardano Summit, Amplify Cardano Rare Network, Community-Centric Partnerships for Africa, Crypto Fluency, Increasing Cardano Ecosystem Liquidity through Multifaceted Marketing and Engagement Campaigns, Herbal by Brick Towers, providing self-custodial Swiss banking services. And we kind of basically the only relevant ordering here is we tried to clump together marketing first and innovation second. And do you want to
Wonderful.
also mention the the catalyst bit with moving to the X space at the right
Yes,
time.
thank you. Thank you. We are aware that there is an X space today that Charles will be participating in that happens about halfway through. We've tried as best we can to construct the agenda so that we'll be going into a break at the point that that's happening. Please feel free at any point when you need to pop over into that X space to do so. We will keep moving here in this space, and then you can certainly rejoin after that X space or when you want to pop back. But just want to acknowledge that when you do need to leave, please feel free to pop out, go and participate there, and then you can come back. Danielle, would you mind just dropping into the chat that specific order there so everybody has that in front of them? And I'm going to just briefly share a couple of prompts for our proposers to think about for their 5-minute pitch to guide that. So while I'm doing that, you can pop that in. Couple of questions here, proposers, to think about as you are pitching to help guide how you share. I just dropped these into chat. So brief intro to you. Again, you only have 5 minutes to pitch, so not a lot of time to go in those intros. Straight into these prompts or questions. So first, why this matters now, why what you're proposing matters now at this point, why you're the right team to deliver on this proposal, how you'll deliver, so the process, how you're proposing that'll happen, what you've done before, so any history of delivery around these same pieces, and then why this is worth the cost, or why what you have proposed in terms of the cost makes sense there. And I will drop these back in for folks. Just a helpful framing for people as they are pitching. And Danielle just dropped in those proposals. Again, you'll have 5 minutes. We will keep a timer going for you. You'll see it up in the top corner of your Zoom here. Just so we keep everything equal, at 5 minutes, we will thank you and move directly into feedback. So we will cut folks off at that point to make sure that everybody has the same amount of time. So our first pitch here is Cardano Summit 2025 and regional tech events. Who is up for that?
Eric,
Yes,
I apologize.
you're good.
The two committee proposals are
Yes.
the beginning of the list, and then we
Okay.
move from there. So we need that moment too. Sorry.
Got it. You're good. You're good. So preceding the Cardano Summit 2025 there.
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. All right. So we have two committee proposals here. So Growth and Marketing Committee and then the Membership Community Committee. So who is here from the Growth and Marketing Committee to share their proposal pitch?
Hi everyone, that's me, Laura, with some of the marketing and growth committee. Now I have to ask my team to share the slide because my laptop doesn't allow me. Apologies for that. And no, Alice, that's going to be first the marketing committee. Am I right, Eric?
Yes.
That's
So
first,
Growth and
that's
Marketing
first the growth
Committee.
and marketing. Yeah. So I'm
Yep,
gonna
you got
ask,
it.
please, Wes to share the screen if that's possible. I'm gonna give you the link.
Yeah, sure, I
And
can do that.
apologies for that. It's
No problem. Yeah,
we're
No
not on
worries.
Zoom.
message
you so
me and
much.
I'll get it up here.
There we go. So the marketing committee, I'm gonna start as we wait.
Okay.
Is a bit of a different marketing committee. It's a different marketing committee because we started as a marketing working group back in October. It has developed into a marketing committee at full effects, I think in February this year. So we've been doing different things in here. We've been doing gathering information from the community. We've been also gathering information from the market. So we've been putting together efforts in trying to see what is the benchmark out there for a complete marketing budget for such a layer one. We've been using data from Gartner. We've been using an agency helping us here, Scribe3, and some other data which are listed in the deck. So Wes, can you move forward and go to the workstream 10 in a second, just to the very end? So the reason why we think a marketing budget is needed for Cardano is because with this new decentralized area, we see a need for more coordination effort. So a cohesive program that is pushing this wonderful blockchain forward. We've put our thoughts together and we came up with 10 work stream. One of those is a program manager, which is going to oversee the entire work. This because it's going to be a community effort, it's going to be agency efforts, it's going to be funding entity effort, it's going to be project efforts. So the spectrum here is really very, very large. So the workstream 10, I'm starting from the bottom, is the external education and long form content. This is something which has been very much provided in the past by different sources, and we want to continue to do so. I think we think that content is a very important to get into lead generation, into developer adoption, into developer onboarding. For this one, we asked to allocate 500K. If we can go back or further one, best please. Workstream 9 will be associated to community management. The goal of this workstream is to grow the community, increase the activity within the ecosystem, and produce a new wave of Cardano advocacists and evangelists. For this one, we asked for 500K. Then if we can move forward. Social media is a very big thing too. The goal of this workstream is to create a very first unified global social media program in the history of Cardano. There are tons of different channels out there, a ton of different websites. We think that we need to consolidate this into one go-to point to make things easier for the rest of the people who don't know Cardano. I don't want to make any comparison. I know we are decentralized and we love decentralization. It's just making difficult for the people to find the right things in the right spot. For this one, we asked 500K. Next one, please. This work stream, no, back on the other side, Bess. Thanks so much. Yeah. Back one. Another one back. Yes, thank you. So this is the amount allocated to the product marketing planning and GTM. This is the very core of the marketing initiatives. For this, we allocate a larger amount of the budget, which is 1.5 million. And this is really going into the very core of the Cardano blockchain, which is the work stream, which is really coordinating the GTM efforts by creating a strategy and a communication calendar for product launches for the entire 2025. And this is going to be an overall effort of aligning as much as possible with the product roadmap. Allocation here 1.5. One back, please, Wes. Event management and marketing. This is another work stream which is really taking care of the events space, the booth, the events, and anything which is related to the offline activities initiatives. For this, we allocate a larger amount for this year, which is a 6.65 million. The reason why is this year, Cardano has not been participating in many events out there as a cohesive branded. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right. Laura, thank you. That
Thank
is
you so much.
your
Thank you for your time. It's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So as y'all can see, 5 minutes goes very quickly.
Super quick, yes.
And Laura, thank you for being willing
Thank
to jump out right out of the gate. Again, this is an opening for these and a first pitch. This is also an opportunity to get a little bit of feedback from the group. So I'll open it up to the wider group at this point. Kat, if you can put 3 minutes up on our timer here for feedback. I'll just be asking from the group for plus delta feedback. So plus is something that you see is working here, really works for you in terms of this pitch. Delta would be something that needs to be improved or clarified. So depending upon how much time based on how long the pitch takes, we'll open it up for at least here 1 plus and 1 delta. You can either drop it into chat or just raise your hand. So a plus for Laura here with this proposal, something that is working for you and you want to reinforce. And it looks like a question here. What's the name of this proposal at a high level?
So this is the growth and marketing budget proposal. So it's the
Wonderful.
comprehensive budget for the marketing and growth initiatives for this year.
Perfect. Perfect. Right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and please, as you're going through, drop your link to your proposal in chat as you're going up to pitch. That'll give people an opportunity to go directly there. Anything else that folks want to point out, either a plus or a delta here for Laura?
It's not just for me. It's really I'm just I had the
You're the
honor to present
spokesperson.
this. It's really the it's really the entire effort of the growth and marketing committee. So
Yeah.
don't give the credits to me. It's really
There
all
we
of them
go.
together. And the marketing working group started back in October, so it's really half of a year
Yep.
picking brains.
So
Yes.
Laura, it looks like we've got a question here in chat. How many community lead events will there come out of this budget?
Jesus, it's a lot. So it's different. It's I think it's more than 10, 15 for the booth branded events, and there's tons of possibilities for community-led events, which normally ask for fundings to Catalyst or CFs or different kind of sponsorships. So this is really giving space also to the community and the ecosystem. So I can't say how many, but I think there's enough.
Quite a bit. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
And it looks like here, Laura, one other question I'll just ask you to answer in chat, either you or somebody from the committee. There's a question about what groups were involved in creating this. This will be a dynamic as we go across to make sure that everybody has a chance to pitch. Please drop your questions in chat, and then I'll just ask pitchers and committees. Pay attention to what's coming up in there, and you can answer those questions. Folks, please keep putting feedback into chat. We will save all this chat, and this is also being recorded, so you'll be able to come back to it as well. We have up next the Membership and Community Committee for their pitch. Who is going to be sharing for them?
That would be me.
All
Hi,
right,
everyone.
Darlington, good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now you can actually see me.
I know. Yeah, for a second. That was like a gentle nudge to get you on camera there. That was it. Just let us know when you're ready and we'll start the timer.
Yeah, start the timer.
Okay.
Let me put the link in the chat here. Thanks, Jenny. Well, I'm currently the chair of the Membership and Community Committee, and the Community Hubs Working Group put together this proposal with the blessing of the entire committee, and it's up for comments. and feedbacks. There's already been one iteration. But the big idea is to tackle Cardano locality. I mean, if you think about any technology you've been using that's, let's just keep it fair and say that's over 7 years old since Cardano is about there. And if you go to Google and you type in technology, meetup, you will find lots and lots of local connections for the successful ones. Grassroots, local connections, places people can go and share frustrations. Even in the age of AI, you still need a place to go and have a beer, tea, and talk about your AI agents and if they're helpful and not helpful in respect to whatever technology you're in, whether it's blockchain or vendor services, cloud services, AWS, WordPress, you name it. To get to the level of globalization and adoption that these technologies take, there has to be a local presence. If technologies do not take the way of local meetups, then you'll find that in every university. In every university, there's groups around them, or students have access to them for free in one way or another, sometimes contrived. I had a teacher that insisted we use Microsoft Word for everything. She would take nothing else. Even in the age of Google Docs and whatever else. Right. So that's the problem the community hubs working group is trying to solve, trying to get that Cardano locality on the ground in local communities. There was an experiment last year. You can check the proposal for how that went with 6 pilot hubs. You can look at documents and data on outputs and things that work, didn't work. The working group has the authority to go over all of that and then spend a new draft for a bigger iteration of the hub, adding 10 more hubs, about maybe more if the budget allows it, to have about 16 or more hubs going into the rest of this year and next year, to just be a touch point for Cardano on the ground. I won't regurgitate the proposal. Instead, I will let you guys ask questions that you might have. I think the idea is pretty clear, what the group is trying to do. So let's poke holes in the thing so that working group can iterate and make the
Sounds
proposal
good.
better.
Sounds good. Kat, could you add 3 minutes on to the timer there? We'll open it up for pluses and deltas here, or poking holes there to help Darlington out. Again, you can either raise your hand here in Zoom or just drop them into chat here. Yeah, John, go ahead.
So yeah, can I just check this? This overall budget is going into the MCC budget. Is that right?
That is correct. This would be part of the MCC's budget. The MCC has 3 line items, all spearheaded by working groups. Yeah. So the MCC
Yeah.
will oversee, and then the community hubs working group will sort of make sure the work happens.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's a good proposal.
Cool. John, great to see you, or great to hear your voice.
Yeah, you too, mate. You too.
All right. Question here from Tim. Darlington, what countries are the priority for any new hubs?
This is one of the questions that the community hubs working group is trying to decide right now. We're going away from specific country per se and trying to have good global coverage. Now, there's dozens of countries in the world. We cannot afford to have a hub in every single country, and we need to take an iterative approach to the hub and expand over time. once we've proven that a certain formula work. So the 16 also hubs, the working group will decide how they're placed. Everybody will be able to submit to have a hub in a location, but we're going to have criteria around countries, languages, cultures to have a good spread.
Cool. Cool. All right, thank you. I see here, and maybe Kat, you could help me with this one. Fearney dropped something in chat in
He's
Spanish.
asking to get connected to learn more about Cardano. So I'm about to send him a message with the Cardano Intersect email
Wonderful.
address. Gotcha.
Wonderful. And it looks like here, time-wise, Darlington, enough time for one last question. Would each hub be responsible for creating its own social content? If so, how would it be approved or quality checked and aligned with a coordinated approach?
We are having, and I believe we finalized some of those in the last meeting, conversations around KPIs.
Okay.
So we say what we want as a Cardano community, and then hubs are able to put forward proposal that meets those KPIs. But the working group, this is a stress enough that this is iterative, and the working group will be hands-on iterating on exactly how each how the program works. So joining the working group, you can have an impact on that. But one key thing, we're going to have a place where all the hubs can collaborate content-wise. So if someone creates something here and it's working, it can be adopted by other hubs. But the MCC and the working group themselves are not creating actual content.
Okay.
We're just creating what we want the content to achieve,
Cool.
those KPIs.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you, Darlington. And again, folks, please, if you have other questions, plus or Delta feedback for Darlington, drop that in the chat. We'll be saving that off. And Darlington, I'd say if any other questions pop up, please feel free to respond to them in chat as we're moving ahead. So we're going to open up here to our next pitch, which is for the Cardano Summit 2025 and regional tech events. You'll see Danielle actually dropped in the list of our proposers here with the link to their proposal. So you'll have that right in front of you. Who is going to be pitching for that one here? Cardano Summit 2025.
Eric, it's again me.
Wonderful. Let us know when you're ready and we'll start the timer.
We're ready. Thank you so much. So the Cardano Summit, I think I don't have to explain what it is. Many of you have been going there since 2021. That was before my time at Cardano. So all the credits to Alice. She was able to run super events during the course of the years. The Cardano Summit has become the point of contact for the Cardano ecosystem, but it's developing more and more towards the point of contact to media, to enterprises, and to anyone who wants to discover about Cardano. Alice, can you move forward, please? Thank you so much. The proposal which we're putting out here for this year's summit is a bit of a different one. So we're going to keep one global Cardano Summit for as you know it, right? The 2 days event. Plus we're having a hackathon on the day 0, so before the summit itself, because we think that focusing on developers is really key. But we are developing it, and we've been working actually since the previous summit together with community people and different organizations in the world, like VADA, Rare Evo, Emurgo, Ada Solar, and bear with me if I missed anyone, to kind of create a more decentralized approach to the summit, because we think that the regional differentiators need to be also taken into consideration, and also developing local communities and developing local hubs of developers, new developers to join into the ecosystem. That's why we said, okay, let's keep the Cardano flagship event once a year, but add on top 2 days tech events in the different regions. So one in Asia, one in LATAM, one in Africa, and one in the US, and one in Asia, Africa, West, and LATAM. So, and I think here I would like to give a second to Alice to jump in here and help me with the
Yeah, sure.
timeline, if possible.
Yeah,
She's the
sure.
master of the summit. Thank you so much.
No worries. So we have put the proposal together. There's quite a lot of the slides. Well, this whole deck is uploaded as well, so you can browse through it on your own time. But essentially, we would start in Las Vegas, then do a Cardano Africa event in Nairobi, then LATAM, then Berlin, and then in India. So each event has different goals, different audience, and we would be working together with so we as in CF would be working together with the community local partners for each of those events. I won't go through all of the slides, but there have been questions as well about more details on the regional events. So if I just go all the way to the back.
Alice, can you just go only once back to the requested budget so that they know what it is? Apologies for this.
Yeah.
This one here. So if you can see here, what we are requesting here is 1.4 for the main flagship event. So we've reduced dramatically the cost of such a summit, improving really how to do things and the sponsorship, and really taking down to what we think is possible and to show ROI for this event. So no longer the 4 million event, but just the 1.4 in this case. Then we are asking 0.4 for each of the 4 regional events. And just that it's clear here for everyone, the money and the treasury which has not been used will go back to treasury. And the revenue which will be made from ticket sales and from sponsorship will be reinvested in the summit itself and down payments for the location of next year. The problem which we've been incurring during this year was always, is this summit happening? Is this not happening? I mean, all of the chains out here have a summit, a big one. Some of them have multiple summits in different regions. So this is not a, should we do this? This is a must. It's just, we need to announce at the summit, we need to announce the next summit. And this is something which we missed on the previous years. That's why we're saying here, when the revenue comes in, we'll use this to be able to do down payments for the next summit, so that we get into this loop of having it clear where it is, how it's going to happen. In this way, we can grow the Cardano Summit to be a zero cost sum. Sorry again, too fast, too late.
All right.
Thanks.
We can open it up here for 5 minutes of questions and feedback. I see one question already in chat from Jonah. How are locations selected?
Alice, can you pull up that one chart? So we've been doing, so the flagship event is very opportunistic this time, because we knew the budget and the change over the process gonna been taking a while. So for the team, CF team, which is event coordinated event, they're based in Europe. So we just said, okay, let's go for Europe this year, because it's the time wise and very, very pragmatical. It's just Europe, but we added all of the rest of location depending on where the developers possibilities are. Alice, can you show that slide? Thank you so much. So we are going there where it's needed for us to be in terms of developers onboarding. We're going to have hackathons in all of those regions to be able to pull in more new developers into the ecosystem.
Great. See a next question here from Mark. Oh, Mark, great to see you here. Do you include any plans for satellite community events similar to how the previous years have conducted the summits, where we had the process for applications from community members to hold smaller events?
And here it's open to discussion. For us, we said, if we're going to go with these tech summits everywhere, maybe there's no need any longer to have those community-led events or side events. We're open to discuss this. We've been doing also a workshop at the Cardano Summit about this, and we thought this is the most viable solution for us this year, but happy to talk about it.
Any other feedback here for Laura or questions for Laura? All right. Again, please continue dropping any feedback or questions into chat. I see folks already responding to questions. Darlington responding to a question from his proposal earlier. This will just allow us to keep things moving, but also continue to respond to your feedback and questions. Jonah asks here, Laura, will additional partnerships be available?
In terms of sponsorships, I guess, right?
Jonah, are you talking about sponsorships? Yes.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Yes, I noticed you had a few big four underneath the bottom presented there, and I was just curious if there was other teams, because I know there's someone here who is on the call who is also very much interested in doing events, and I was curious if you had spoken with that individual or other individuals.
We've been speaking with Vada, Adasolar, Rare Evo, and Amorgo, because that was the workshop we did back in the summit. But of course, we're open to see to have anyone helping for this. It's a big one. In terms of sponsorships from for the summit itself, yes, we're looking into doing the same kind of things we did last year. So reaching out and collecting sponsorship for the summit. There's also a slide in here which shows you what is the timeline for this event to get to break even at some point and not just being a cost center. So we think that in 3 years we should be there. That was not the case back in 2021. That was all sponsored by IOG, and then it passed over to Cardano Foundation with sponsors on top from founding entities. Last year also from Intersect, going to this way of decentralization, then it should be a community, an ecosystem effort, because it can't be just us. So we're willing and happy to help to organize things. I think Alice is doing an amazing work, but we really want to have the buy-in of the entire ecosystem for this project. If you think we can support this further, we're happy to do so.
All right. Thank you, Laura. I see questions still being dropped in and feedback as well. Please do so. And Laura, as Darlington's doing, please drop in and respond. Lloyd here, appreciate you're putting in pluses and deltas in addition to questions. If there are things that you want to see either continued or improved in these proposals, drop those in. That'll help provide some further feedback for folks. And I had a request from some folks in chat. When you drop in questions or feedback, if you could make sure just at the beginning of your question, you label just briefly what proposal you're responding to. That'll help keep things organized in there. All right, going to our next proposal here, we have got Amplify Cardano, community-led events fund by Rare Network. Who's going to be pitching there?
That will be me, and I'll just go ahead and get my slides up real quick. Thank you for Eric.
Cool. No worries. Let us know when you're ready. We'll start the timer.
Great. Yes, hello everyone. I'm Wes Parkinson, one of the co-founders of Rare Network. We're better known for our flagship event, Rare Evo, which started as the original Cardano Community Conference. Today, I'll be covering a community-led events fund that will be $500,000 available through Q1 of 2026 for events leads, Cardano organizations, and others to apply to host an event of a specific budget range over a certain amount of time. This allows many things, but I'll go ahead and just start why this matters now. This matters now because, to be honest, we're behind when it comes to our competitors. We're a top 10 blockchain. There are top 20 blockchains that have higher frequencies of community-led events each year annually. Internet Computer Protocol, being one of those, had 3,000 community-led events last year, whether it be virtual or in person. Sui, a way newer blockchain in comparison to Cardano, is doing community-led events. We've actually done one regionally in Cincinnati. And so the time is now because we're behind. Why are we the right team? We've had 5 years of building in the Cardano ecosystem, from starting out as a stake pool to being the largest events organizers from the community and marketers in the Cardano ecosystem. So we have 7 full-time employees reigning out of Cincinnati, Ohio for the most part, with a handful of additional team members that help us out with our development. You can take a look at our customers and partners. It is highly focused on the Cardano ecosystem, yet our event is multi-chain, and we bring in other layer ones like VeChain, Ripple, Algorand, etc. So have a lot of great relationships when it comes to partnerships with other ecosystems and being able to headhunt their ecosystem, onboard new devs, and get creative on how we cross-pollinate communities. We've held 10 socials across multiple continents, ranging from 300 to 600 guests at each socials. We've had 11,000 total registered guests and building a 20,000 person mailing list. So we know how to budget, we know how to execute on these events, and we'll be able to assess if Cardano teams are able to, are using funds wisely, and have the ability to execute and maintain brand integrity. We have past experience with hosting Fund 12 Catalyst working groups where we project managed nearly 30 between approval and distributing funds. So we've already launched a very similar fund in the past successfully and closed out on that project, hosting multiple events worldwide, ranging from budgets of $10,000 upwards to over 6 figures. So what are we going to deliver? Well, we're going to deliver an events fund that is much more flexible and feasible for events production, unlike Project Catalyst. Catalyst Open Ecosystem Grants Fund is great. However, it's not practical. You can take it from me, who's had to front $75,000 worth of funds and work to get it back retroactively. For organizations that don't have heavy working capital, there needs to be a fund that is dedicated and tailored to events production. So this would be $500,000 that can be utilized from July 1st to March 31st, ranging from $500 to $30,000. We're talking anything from a pizza party at a university with maybe a guest speaker, upwards of maybe a conference takeover or a side event at a larger conference to be able to put on for the Cardano ecosystem. So a large range of events categories. And sorry, I'm rushing through this so fast, but it's just what it is. Event categories, local meetups, technical workshops, networking socials, working groups, conference exhibition, and educational seminars, making sure there's diversity from the event categorical standpoint, as well as the regions in which these are hosted worldwide, keeping a pace that allows us to be competitive with L1s and L2s. So what will Rare deliver here? Well, you can take a look at our KPIs, and that will not only audit and report on this, unlike something that Catalyst can't really unifiably do in the context of events, but we'll create the proposal system, we will run it, we'll report on it, and we will promote all of the events on top of the promotion that comes from the project team itself. So I think I've wrapped up just in time. Apologies for the rush. And I've also linked, I believe, in the chat here, if not already, all of the links. Similarly to this events fund, we also have a marketing fund. So if you're looking rather to host an event, more so launch a marketing campaign for Cardano or your project, there's also another $500,000 committed to that, which is definitely in line with the GMC budget.
Cool. Thank you, Wes.
Thank you, everyone.
And, appreciate the expeditiousness there. Yep, 5 minutes goes by quickly. This is to make sure we're able to hear from everybody. We'll open it up here for this feedback and questions. Looks like already we've got one here from Jonah. Will Rare be able to apply for this funding to host events, or will this be for externally run events by community proposals that Rare will aggregate?
Let me just read through that again. Sorry, I was
No, you're
reading
good.
one.
It's from Jonah here in chat.
Can you just repeat that? Sorry, real
Yep.
quick.
Will Rare be able to apply for this funding to host events, or will this be for externally run events by community proposals that Rare will aggregate?
This would be primarily for external. We do have what we call a Web3 Wednesday in Cincinnati, Ohio, where we spend about $400 to $500 a month on food and beverage, and we get about 30 to 40 people joining. So we may apply for that if we need it. Right now, currently, we already have sponsors, and so we don't need those funds, but it would not exceed like a $500 food and beverage budget or 500 to 1,000. If we grow and double our numbers, we'll need more F&B budget. But no, we would not exceed an ask of $1,000 a month. Let's just say that. And I'm happy to put that in the slides as well.
Okay. All right. Another question here from Ken Eric. Could you please tell us the performance KPIs and their target values in the Cardano ecosystem? As Rare Evo manages these community event proposals, what specific KPIs should we expect to see?
So as far as measuring them per project, that's hard because every project has a different scope and budget, right? But I think the goal is to focus in on these key KPIs. So social follower growth, making sure that each project has a way to kind of mirror the exposure online and get social media engagement, the number of unique attendees. So we should be able to track on an email list who is a repeating visitor versus who is a unique new attendee and be able to gather that information. Surveys will be collected from each project. Local activations will manage their growth and show their growth chart if it's a recurring event. And then any kind of success stories coming out from collaborations and partners that emerge out of these events that are hosted, as well as the number of ecosystem projects that are involved in the course of this $500,000 around an 8-month period. So setting it like we're going to get 10,000 users, that's tough when the scopes and budgets and amount of projects have yet to be set. In our other it's more so side of we produce. Sorry if I'm breaking up. We can better measure those and say we are going to get 300 to 600 people on average to a side event. But until we know the scopes and budgets, it's hard to define those metrics.
All right. Question here from Larissa. How do you know that your events reached targeted communities? Have you identified targeted communities for educational workshops, and how can you expand the reach to those who are not currently being reached?
I think we can definitely do an assessment of where regions have lacked in hosting events. That's something that's definitely needed. And I think something to keep in mind is this fund will align with the GMC. So we will have meetings with the Growth and Marketing Committee to make sure that there's not clashing of events that are already happening with other proposals that have active events productions going on. And really, it's just a matter of making sure that we, as Rare Network, as well as the community, echo out this opportunity so that we get as many applicants as possible. That's the way we get diversity.
Okay, wonderful. Why the need for this particular proposal when Rare Evo is part of the Growth and Marketing Committee and the CF budget? What difference would this proposal make? And that'll be our final question.
Sure, yeah. This is a completely different proposal because it's for community-led events, for projects to be able to establish a budget, submit, explain the value that they're bringing, and then get those funds distributed and carry out a project with us acting as project managers, ensuring that there's fair use of funds and projects are being worked to a close that we can properly report on, aggregate all that information, and then report back to the community the value. So it's completely separate, whereas the other proposals we're involved in are collaborations with CF and Emergo to do things like very highly orchestrated conference takeovers, builder fests, and
Right.
side events.
Perfect. Thank you, Wes. And you'll see in there other questions for you to respond to. We're going to pop over to our third pitch, which is Cardano Ecosystem Pavilions and Exhibitions. Who is going to be pitching for that one?
Hi, it's me, David. Hi there.
All right. Hi, David. Just let us know when you're ready and we'll start the timer.
Just bear with me because my camera lens is very... okay. Hopefully you can see me all.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, so can I just share my screen?
You can. Yep.
See if this works. Share. Sorry, guys. Okay, should be sharing now.
The screen share isn't up on this end.
Okay, Brave browser. Let's try this. Share.
There we go. Now it's coming up.
Perfect. Thank
All
you.
right.
Right. Okay. So just obviously, I think we're all here for the same reasons. We're all passionate about marketing. So the reasons why I feel we need to obviously have a budget is the same as everybody else's. A lot of what Wes said, I completely agree with. We're a top 10 blockchain. We should start acting like one. And there's expectations that we should be present at certain events. So I've been doing similar some events over the last couple of years. I had a booth at Crypto Expo Dubai where we had the foundation and a few of the projects like NMaker and Palmyra and whatnot present. Some of these are the pictures from that event. We've also had other events as well, but they're not really exhibition events. There was like a summit in Dubai in 2023. I did an event at the IFC where I got projects to present themselves to some TradFi companies that are investing in digital innovation. Also held a few community events as well. But my proposal is, after doing the initial sort of socializing, my proposal has been cut down really just to cover 10 exhibitions around the world. And where mine is probably different to the one that you see at the moment is I'm trying to focus on a pavilion style setup. So each pavilion will have 10 pods where projects within the ecosystem will actually have their own pod. And these people will be in a group that will basically partake in not just the event itself, but pre-event calls, planning, and then the follow-ups afterwards. So what I'm trying to do is give more projects the exposure, the understanding, and the benefit, or to see the benefit in actually having some funds available for marketing. I would like to see that, well, success for me in this particular proposal would be that after the first year, we start to actually see projects exhibiting themselves, or we won't actually have to fund so much. Now, my particular proposal is not a 100% funded for everybody. The idea is I'm taking, we call it the DTI, it used to be UKTI. In the UK, we have a Department for Trade and Innovation grant program, which will pay up to 75% of travel fees and exhibition costs, up to a maximum amount. So I'm trying to, on one hand, keep an eye on value for money for the Treasury, whilst also provide a much more accessible price point for projects in the ecosystem to gain this experience and to benefit from it. I strongly believe that where Cardano should be marketing or pitching itself is opportunity. And that's not just in terms of opportunity to make money through trading, but also to find jobs, whether you're a developer or a marketeer or a business person. Also find opportunity to get involved in governance or just in general community. So for me, it's very important that we actually market the projects in Cardano and the opportunity here rather than Cardano itself. And I'm just going to scroll down because somewhere I've got the, okay, so yeah, so I did a section on KPIs and ROIs. This is off the back of what Utah asked for. To try and zoom in here, I don't know if you can read it. So basically, one of the key stats that I've been working on, this rings true with every event that I've been to. I've been to about 15 events in the last 3 years. The percentage, or for the last 4 years, this particular survey has asked 2,000 people at each event they've gone to. It's survey.org is the website. In 2022, 3 and 4 and 5, it asked the people attending what cryptocurrencies do you hold? Cardano has gone from 19% down to 12% in the last 4 years. The only cryptos that have performed worse is Bitcoin and Ethereum. However, in the same survey, the next question was, what cryptocurrencies do you plan to buy in the next year? And Bitcoin and Ethereum were at 66% and 43%. However, Cardano was only at 9%. So there is a reversing trend that we need to fix. For me, every event I go to, people know Cardano, but they don't know what's happening here. So we need to be focusing on the projects. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give people exposure to actually what the opportunity is here, to inspire them to get involved, but also those projects will benefit from actually being on the stands, getting involved with not just the event itself, but understand how to make the most of it and maximize the opportunity by doing all of the pre-event.
Right.
I'll stop at that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dave. We'll open it up here for plus, delta, and questions. Looks like one already. Andreas asks, which events have you picked for 2025?
For 2025, bear with me. My mind has gone blank now. Let's come back out. I've got the list on here. Okay, so 2025, GitX Nigeria, Future Blockchain Week, GitX Thailand, and India Blockchain Week. Oh no, India Blockchain Week is possibly going to be 2026, depending on how quickly we can get the funds. So one of the problems that we have, and I'm sure Wes will tell you this, is that when it comes to exhibitions, you need to be planning at least 6 months in advance and getting the deposit in. Otherwise, you're going to struggle to get everything ready in time.
Right. Looks like a follow-up here, Dave. On what basis have you picked these events?
Okay, so in my proposal, I haven't chosen any event I've not been to in the past. I've chosen ones that I felt that would be a good fit for Cardano. So some of those events are actually events that are multi events. So for example, the GitX ones are not just blockchain. The GitX ones are typically like a digital health, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and it's 5 events typically all rolled into one. So for those events, there's obviously certain projects that would probably benefit more for Cardano to be there, including the foundation themselves. Some of the events are more blockchain events that have, for example, like people are paying $2,500 for a ticket. So they're there looking for connections with exchanges, networking. They're looking for actual investments, to invest in projects. So I've chosen them based on a mix of what I think where we should be present.
Right. Any other pieces of feedback here for Dave or remaining questions for Dave? And
So what I
looks
will
like a
say then,
question
quickly,
could put all the proposal links back in, please. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
yeah, I'll stick into the this list in a second, the link to the website, because obviously the website has more information in there about the actual proposal than what the proposal form allows itself. So I'll stick that in for everybody.
Dave, looks like a question. What is your team size?
4 of us.
Okay.
Three people. Well, one's in Korea, so that's Nathan, South Korea. Got Lorraine in Dubai, and Mia and I are in the UK at the moment.
Okay. Any other questions or pieces of feedback, plus or delta, from folks out there before we move to the next pitch? All
Well, one
right.
thing I will say, actually, if it's okay, to kind of answer a question that somebody had as well for Wes, to give you an example of value for ROI. So typically, you're probably looking at around about $330 to $350 per person that software companies would normally pay to onboard. It's like it's a CAC, customer acquisition cost. So if I'm looking at doing one of these events and it's $75,000, I'm looking to hopefully onboard at least 600 people or 500 people. It's the numbers are all in the website again. I've actually built in CAC and a few other things in there as well. So yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Dave. And I'll just point you again to chat. Looks like a few
Yeah,
more
no
pieces
problem.
of feedback in there that
I'll
you
just
can
answer
respond
any
to.
that come in. Thank you very much for your time, everybody.
All right.
Take care.
I have up next here community-centric partnerships for Africa. Who will be pitching there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Hi, Ubio. Let me know when you're ready and we'll start the timer.
All right, Eric, I'm trying to share my screen. So
Okay.
let me know if you can see it.
It is, yep, it's coming through.
All right, some minutes. Okay, I think this should work. I'm just trying to get everything done here. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
All right, okay. So community-centric partnerships for Africa. This is actually led by a group of us, which we call the Cardano Africa Coalition, and it's actually comprised of CAT, that's Catalyst African Town Hall, Remostat, and Geotech. And these are active community members in Africa. I think the general goal is we're trying to create institutional and governmental adoption of Cardano in Africa. And so, yeah, so that's just the brief. Trying to get this. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong. Can we give a pause? I don't know why my screen is not moving. Sorry.
No worries. There we go. It's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up now. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So the challenge for the past 2 to 3 catalyst rounds, I think the ecosystem actually discovered something very unique. And that was what we call the partnership category. We actually realized that if we create a category that actually targets only institutional adoptions and governmental adoptions, it's actually going to create a lot of buzz in the community. And yeah, hopefully so it actually did work. Unfortunately for us, in Africa, we realized that none of our projects actually was able to make the shortlist, and none of that could actually make it to the long point of getting the community to get voted for. And reasonably so, the hallmark and the competition is actually very high. Actually, when I saw the shortlist of that came out, the likes of DReps and all of that, you actually want to side with the people behind who actually shortlisted most of this project. But despite how true this is, it still does not change the fact that in Africa, we are doing a lot, especially for most of us who are in this part of the world, we're doing a lot trying to bring Cardano to the forefront. And so it's actually disheartening to a lot of builders, right? So this is where we actually thought about bringing a proposal that that actually helps us to onboard governmental and institutional adoption only in Africa. To be fair, we actually do feel jealous when we hear a lot about all the adoptions that is actually going on in other continents and other parts of the world. We actually do feel jealous, and we want to play our part. And we actually do understand the competition, and we also understand that sometimes it may not actually be fair. So this is what this proposal is all about, right? And we actually do believe that Africa actually has a lot of untapped potential. It may not be where we have all the biggest wells, but it actually is one place where Cardano will find its greatest adoption and its utility because of the inherent problem that is actually existing in our world. So we're trying to create this particular proposal as a support mechanism to create fair access and empower builders and to bridge the gap. What we are expecting to benefit from this is to reinforce the value that Cardano truly believes in inclusion and decentralization and in real-world impact, and obviously global relevance, and to create other support that we think is relevant. So how will this work, right? We're going to make it in a way that we call for application, and then in this model, the community is the one outreaching for partners, right? So we're going to have events where you go out, communities in Africa go out to partner with institutions, reach out to them. So there's actually a community outreach event, an application, and then shortlist based on KPI. One of such KPI we have is that whoever partner you're going to be bringing to the board should be able to bring in about 10K KPI. That's whether in terms of wallet integration, new users, whatever it's going to be, that's like a shortlist, right? So only partnerships and institutional adoptions that actually meet this shortlist of criteria will actually move to the next criteria, right? So key requirements that for this to work, we need African reviewers, right? So, and then we need a lot of outreach infrastructures, and we need the partnership execution as well. And then for funding of this pool, we actually had to adjust it to 1 million ADA. It was about 1.5 million ADA, but after discussing with Utah and all of that, with a lot of other community members, we reduced it to 1 million, and the 1 million ADA. The idea is that this is actually going to be an MVP. If this works out, we're going to be creating a framework for other communities that also do feel disenfranchised in terms of the results of partnerships or any other category, to come together with this Africa coalition and form something, maybe a much more global
All right.
coalition for this
Thank you,
funding.
Bio. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can circle back around as people are asking some questions here. Maybe slip in a few more details. So we'll open it up for questions and feedback for Ubio here. And Ubio, if you want to keep your slides up, totally fine. Any questions or feedback for Ubio here?
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, so we have like under the MCC, we have the community hubs system, where it's a whole integrated system looking at the whole geography of the world, breaking it down and supporting local and regional things on a, a fairly balanced and evaluated criteria. And the money goes out through that. So I'm asking about this proposal. Where does that fit in? Like, is this going into the growth budget? Is this going into the MCC budget? Is it falling under a particular category? Or is it sort of just standing alone as an application for funds?
No, I think this is purely a marketing and innovation idea. Why? Because maybe it also aligns with MCC as well, but I would say marketing and innovation because it's an adoption strategy. It's about partnerships. It's about bringing institutions. It's about bringing government on board, right? So maybe it's a different level on a different kind of partnership or marketing, but I think this actually fits quite well into the whole marketing and innovation strategy, right? Because again, some of the guys that are going to be coming in through this proposal will be also bringing innovation on board. Some of them would actually, if we get government support, for example, they will be probably bringing investment and different stuff. So this is purely marketing and innovation bucket, yeah.
So should the Growth and Marketing Committee consider this as a proposal to address the line item for regional events?
Wow. So I think for regional events, I don't think that's proper, but I think the marketing committee should actually look at it and see where it fits in well. I wouldn't say for events because the core essence of it is not necessarily the event. It's about the partnerships.
Right.
Okay.
Any other feedback or questions here for Ubio? And again, please drop it into chat as well. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
excuse me, Eric. I do have
go
a
ahead,
question
Juan.
for Obvio. This is a very ambitious and thoughtful proposal. I think it's going to empower the funding model for Africa in a very good way, and reflects Cardano values as well. But I just wondering what kind of contingencies are in place to ensure resilience and trust if let's say if partnerships fail to deliver, and there is a political instability, which is something that is, visible, and yeah, in the ethos
Yeah.
of community confidence.
Yeah, I think two things here is that one, we actually going to be partnering with we are going to be mentored and advised by a VC in Africa. So we've already reached out to them. If these get funded, they will mentor us on the whole process, right? But we already do have some process in line. One of that is the fact that we are going to adopt the same strategy that Catalyst and most of the ecosystem have used, which is actually milestone-based deliverables, right? So that means that to the extent, let's assume something is being delivered, and you rightly put it, we are faced with a lot of instabilities, like, for example, what's happening currently in Congo, right? So let's assume a project was funded there, and then there's instability, then that would get a pause, right? Until when when that region is stable again, then the funding continues, right? So to that extent, it may not reduce, it may not eliminate the risk, but it reduces the risk.
All right.
Wait.
We're going to pause here. We're about out of time, not enough time for another question. So we're going to pop to our next pitch, which is crypto fluency, increasing Cardano ecosystem liquidity through multifaceted marketing and engagement campaigns. Who's pitching on that one?
That is me, Eric.
All right, Nadia, let us know when you're ready. We'll start the timer.
Okay, 1 second. I'm just going to give you guys, I have some slides here.
Awesome.
I'm going to get myself set up. I'm going to put the slides in the chat so you guys can check them out. And they have links to everything that I'm going to talk about. So that is in there. And then let me just see if I can share my screen here. Okay, is that coming through?
It's coming through.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so thanks for having me today. I'm excited to talk here representing Crypto Fluency. Derek, who is a big member of our team, you may be more familiar with him than I am. He's actually in a procedure today, a medical procedure, so he's sorry he can't be here. But I hope I will do us both justice. So this proposal is called Increasing Cardano Ecosystem Liquidity through Multifaceted Marketing and Engagement Campaigns. And why this matters now is that there's not enough liquidity in Cardano. We have these exceptional tools, we have the best technology, we're all here for that purpose, and yet people are resistant to investing their time and energy and resources into something that they don't understand. So even if they get exposed to Cardano, the bridge from learning about it to participating in it is often sometimes years long and often riddled with a lot of learning that's difficult. So this is going to address these roadmap goals here: incoming liquidity, making Cardano more recognizable, and attracting DApps and users. So we just believe that liquidity is the result of earning people's confidence, both individually and institutionally. And so this proposal is aimed at that. When people feel prepared and informed, they're more likely to take part. All of us here at one point were curious, and then we were knowledgeable, and then we were engaged, and then we were contributing, and then we're telling people about it and thinking of ways that we could further this. And that is the purpose of this proposal. So we're going to have two overall outcomes. The first is increased liquidity through new participant engagement, and the second is long-term growth through institutional adoption models. So we're going to both create the models and deploy them, and we're going to make them available to others to use. So just a quick overview. You can see all this in the proposal, but this team has been involved in Cardano since 2018. We actually did Mastermind in 2017 about blockchain, which just completely changed our lives. And since then, we have been both participating and talking to people about it in every way possible. And so you can see some of that there. We're also working with these partners on a current proposal that we have funded, Stuff.io and Damio, you can see them here. So this is sort of the extension of this team that we have been working to develop decentralized education methods in these ways. So in this proposal, we really have found all this through this time of educating people that there's really three kinds of people. Either they're brand new, or they're invested in crypto, but they're not in Cardano yet, or it's the Cardano community that's not participating at the level that they could be. And so each of these types of people could be reached in different ways, but what's most important is how we connect with and steward each of these groups. And we have found that doing that in cohort models is really the best, because not only are they getting to participate in projects that and sort of challenges that are difficult to do on your own, but they're also going to develop relationships, and they're also going to develop interpersonal preferences within the ecosystem that can be helpful to them. So this is just a little bit of a look at that. You know, we're taking people deeper into the ecosystem. Maybe they come in curious about finance, but they end up really involved in building something, or they come in really excited to participate in governance, and they end up working in DeFi. So we're just always creating this cycle of deeper engagement and involvement. And this is the overview of our content areas. So all of the things that we're proposing as education in this proposal are things where people actually do something that increases their participation, hence the increase of the liquidity, whether it is DeFi or whether it is just basically learning to interface with the environment, or participating in some of the protocols that are building. Again, these are the partners that we're working with. And through this, we've been able to build in lots of different Web3 elements so that people are experiencing the tooling without needing to learn it. It's become seamless as each of these partners are creating different ways for people to engage with each other that align but don't overlap. And then eventually this girl I had in the chart earlier, so she goes deeper into learning, and then from there she connects with others and we get exposure to other people. And then the last thing I'll say here is that we're going to have a very targeted process that our team is going to work heavily on marketing and outreach to attract new cohorts. We're going to onboard them and treat them correctly. And then from there, we're going to run retrospectives and dig deeper for each of the ones who've become involved.
All right.
The remaining slides on there are just things about our team, so you can see our backgrounds. And the last thing is, like any other ecosystem, this is from the roadmap, or more broadly product, it must be useful and used to survive and thrive. And so we're going to make sure that people are using the things that we're building here.
Perfect. Thank you, Nadia. Kat, if you could pop up 4 minutes on the timer there. Questions and feedback for Nadia. Martin, go ahead. I see your hand.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Nadia, for the presentation. I have this question because I read the proposal in Graph2 that you have, and it says that previous funding success, you were funded by Catalyst Fund 13. So my question is this proposal now for the same thing or a follow-up in the work?
Yeah, great question. So sustainability and longevity are really important to us. So that proposal created content, and we are using that proposal to start those collaborations and build these decentralized models. So that means if an institution like a university wants to come on in the future, they have a huge learning curve to understand how they can get their 100 students into a course. Whereas if we figure this out and we have models to be able to do that, then when you have those conversations with institutions to bridge them into the ecosystem, then you're able to say, okay, well, what does it look like? What does your credentialing look like? What are your assessment goals? How are you thinking about how your students will interface with each other? What is your instructor like? You can really customize it for the institutions that as they come on, or individual cohort groups, so that you're bringing people into an environment where it's understandable and relatable, and then you can deliver that knowledge to them. So in short, that we have created the models there in this initial proposal, and then this is the next stage of that where we're actually going out, we're going to bring people into them, we're going to really take people deep into this ecosystem, and we're going to use the marketing expertise on this team to engage larger and larger organizations so that more people can come and take part in the actual deepening participation in Cardano.
Thank you, Nadia.
All right. Juan, see your hand.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nadia, very nice proposal. I think if having 5 different ecosystems working together, it's very easy to find 10 others, which is great. Now, would like to hear a little bit about the paid services model that you propose on this. How do you think that will be achieved after this phase?
Did you say how the pace of the? I didn't
Yeah, the
understand.
paid service model that you guys propose. You mentioned that.
Yeah, so we're not proposing a paid service model initially because the funding will be able to let us run these cohorts pretty much straightforward. There may be some costs, like if a university decided to mint a workbook, there might be like costs to mint that asset or things like that that might roll over to them. But initially, this will cover this, and we will be able to run all these cohorts well. So, and then in the future, either we could, depending on what we learn, we could either turn this into a paid service model, which would have good longevity on its own to be able to sort of provide like a guidance service for institutions as they're coming on. Or we could come back if we learn something very specific that would make sense for us to have additional funding. We could ask for that if it were appropriate. Does that answer your question?
Right. Oh, Juan, looks like you are on mute there.
Yes, I am. My question has to do with sustainability. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, my question has to do with sustainability. How this proposal is going to be sustainable. It's basically, I don't know, you can expand or maybe on the chat.
So I'll just ask that time-wise, maybe Juan, you could drop that into chat, and then Nadia, if you could respond in chat there, just so we can keep things moving here. So thank you, Nadia. And Juan, if you could drop that into chat. We have Herbal by Brick Towers, providing self-custodial Swiss banking services.
Hey, Eric,
Great.
before that, Catalyst is on the X space. So do we want to just let people know about that as well?
Yes. Yeah. So Catalyst is on the X space. If you wanted to pop over there, if Lloyd and others, if you could drop that link back in for anybody that wants to pop over there, and then feel free to pop back. So I have Herbal by Brick Towers here.
Yes, that's me, Ralph here. So we're not going to pause this while the Catalyst space is ongoing. We're just continuing, yeah, with the
you got
result.
it. And we'll have it will be recorded.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right. Okay, great. So thank you very much, guys, for giving me this chance to present our product. First of all, it's important to understand that all the other proposals that I have witnessed so far, quite impressive, but they are more or directly connected to marketing activities, to establishing a powerful Cardano ecosystem, and it's more like a bottom-up approach. Whereas what we are proposing here for Intersect administration and support for Herbal is really focusing on the product side. So Brick Towers, we are a product engineering company working in the Web3 space for some time from Zug, Switzerland. We have a very good track record in traditional finance, having worked with banks and large asset managers, the 4 co-founders. And what we have seen over the last years is that the first generation of crypto users, not limited to Cardano, but in general, has a lot of trouble to have a solution that they feel happy with to convince or to teach others who are not yet on this crypto road due to technical complexity to provide a solution that serves their financial needs in a new way that traditional banks cannot yet offer to them, as they are not using blockchain and distributed ledger technology. So with Herbal, we are developing such a non-custodial Swiss banking product. Herbal is short for you are able, and I'm already proud that Eric was able to pronounce this word correctly, as by just reading this word, you're not necessarily knowing what you're dealing with. All right, so let's get into it. Why is it important to deliver such a product to the retail market now? Fractional reserve banking, which is a many decade-old technology to provide banking services, has failed already before the great financial crisis in 2008. So that traditional savings practices are no longer a path to financial security. We all suffer from this. We don't necessarily, depending on where we live and what currency we use, it's immediate, but over longer term horizon, which is important when you think about savings for the next generation, for example, you all fall into the same trap that your savings don't grow enough. So what we deliver with Herbal is a new way of banking. It's a complete mind shift, paradigm shift towards separating the control of assets from providing banking services. So instead of being a normal bank, accepting deposits and then using a risk-based approach to provide yield and other banking services like credit and investments, Herbal is fully non-custodial. You trust not a centralized entity like a bank, but you trust in the underlying cryptography and the code that is being used to deliver the banking services to you, while you keep full asset control and ownership during the whole time. So with this setup, you circumvent a lot of problematic regulations that are dependent on the jurisdiction where you implement stuff, and it allows a complete new approach to banking, as it is borderless and permissionless. I have here a quick depiction of a typical first user of Herbal who has been in this first cohort or first generation of crypto, having trouble with onboarding his friends, his family members, or saving for someone else in crypto or using blockchain technology. And with Herbal, his problems will be solved so that overall you're circumventing this issue that you don't save sustainably for you or for your next generation dependent on you. The setup is Herbal is an app, a mobile app with an embedded wallet. We are starting our journey with Cardano and everything that is available on Cardano, but also from a privacy perspective on Midnight. I come to this in a moment. And the stack that we want to provide is very similar to what you can imagine as a cooperative bank that in some jurisdictions where you're from, you may be familiar with, where also the members or the participants in the bank, the users of the bank own a certain share of the bank. This is provided by the community governance that we established with the Herbal DAO. The app is in active development. And the key part is that it accompanies you throughout the whole journey of your life, saving for others. And I'm rushing now through the presentation as I only have 5 minutes. It's based on the typical stack that you're familiar with from blockchain technology. And the details of it you can find in the presentation and in the intersect proposal that is at your disposal. One specific point I want to focus on in the last 10 seconds is these use cases you can look at is the team. So 4 co-founders, 2 product, 2 engineers with a huge Cardano background. And with this, we deliver this roadmap in the end. So all of this information is available on the intersect proposal.
Perfect. Thank you, Ralph. We have time for a few questions, so I'll just ask Kat if you can put 3 minutes on, and then we're going to go to our break. So any questions or feedback for Ralph? And again, you can put them in chat as well.
Too fast and too much information in a short amount of time.
It's okay. It's another rep here. So I'll just ask that if folks think of questions or pieces of feedback, to please drop that into chat. We've been sitting watching. Maybe you're standing as well, watching here on the screen for a bit. We're going to take our break here before we come back to our next set of proposals. Let's take a 10-minute break here. So we'll be back at 50 after the hour. You don't need to leave the meeting. Just turn off your camera, and we will then be back at 50 after the hour for our next set of proposals. And VC team, let's pop over into our green room. Danielle as well. We'll see you in there.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. I hope all right. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a quick stretch and are energized for our second round of pitches. I will be taking over. My name is Britta Wolfekammer. I'm also from Voltage Control here with my team. And I'll ask the next vendor, which is Alba Network. Who is presenting for Alba Network? Let's give it a minute. We also know that there is a side event happening. Is Alba Network in the room?
Should be Kewa, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, would be the presenter. I would say let's move on and we'll see if he's available, I guess.
Yes.
I'll check the participant list.
Thank you so much. So the next one will be Cardano Builder, DAO.
All right, yeah, that's me. How's it going, everyone? I'm popping relevant links in the chat and I'm sharing screen.
Oh, well prepared. Thank you so much. And I'll ask to put up the, that is Logan, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Logan, I'll ask for the timer to be set and then off you go.
Awesome. Well, hello, everybody. My name's Logan. I've been an entrepreneur in the Cardano ecosystem for 4 years now. And it's been my pleasure to build governance tooling and try to continue to grow this ecosystem. So I want to start by talking about where this idea came from. So I have this thesis that most information that is vital and value that's vital to the global economy and citizen trust will live on decentralized record-keeping systems in the next 10 years. And what I do with that information is I built this proposal. So my action was to create a proposal that has the goal of making sure that startups building on the best decentralized record-keeping system, Cardano, have funding to scale and onboard and create new on-chain use cases. So I think this is something that can bring the Cardano ecosystem a lot of value. So the Cardano Builder DAO is requesting 12 million ADA from the Treasury. We know this is a big ask, and we want everyone to understand what this ask is. We've seen feedback. We could potentially lower this. So how this 12 million number was arrived at is we pretty much got a bunch of the builders coming into this, and we told them, okay, how much is it going to take to pay for your operation so you can continue to scale, maybe make 1 or 2 hires over the next budget period. So that's how we arrived at this. And with the projects we asked, it's like 64% of this. And there's room for others to join, which we'll talk about too. So the charter is a good resource. So what is CBDAO? It's a member-led DAO designed to fund builders in the Cardano ecosystem. And our main goals are to increase the KPIs that help everyone, from driving new users to creating more TVL to creating more transactions, and also providing strategic and efficient founder funding. So how do you join? Here's a list of all the different projects. You can see some of the best builders in the ecosystem: Dex Hunter, ADA Handle, Tap Tools, FlexPoint, InMaker. You'll probably recognize a lot of them. But in order to be a voting member, you have to have an approved Catalyst proposal. And if you want to be a requesting member, you have to have a live product with relevant KPIs and also have at least one closed out Catalyst proposal. So CBDAO actually uses Project Catalyst as a filter and a community sensing mechanisms to ensure that already vetted projects by the community are prioritized by the DAO, which we hope builds trust and accountability. So in terms of the Treasury, how it works is the DAO actually uses a smart contract treasury. It's an open source and audited protocol called Agora. Each member gets 1 token that they must stake during the budget period in order to have governance power. and then withdrawals from the Treasury require a vote and majority approval. So in terms of funding rounds, it happens twice a year. So it's a little different from the milestone based. It's supposed to be more founder friendly. But essentially, members submit a proposal that includes their roadmap for the year, the budget, what they're going to use the budget on, and their KPIs. And then they have temperature checks where the members of the DAO must actually approve it in order for it to go to an actual Treasury withdrawal. So after the temperature checks, the board of the organization will actually create a smart contract proposal that needs majority of members to vote yes. And then once it passes, it releases the funds to the projects for that budget period. All of the unused ADA from the budget will be deposited back into the Treasury if it's unused and not allocated to projects. There is a very lean, if you compare it to other similar type of proposals, it's much leaner for operational costs, and these will be held in a multi-sig wallet and pay for things like legal, admin, and compliance, which is very necessary for a proposal like this. I won't get into this too much, but essentially how it's going to work, it's pretty cut and dry. You have memberships approved, you have board election, you have the DAO Treasury being created, you have all of the temperature checks and the Treasury withdrawals. That repeats twice. And then the budget period is over, and if there's unused funds, it goes back into the Cardano DAO Treasury. This DAO will be using a DUNA, which is it's a type of organization in Wyoming. It's called a Decentralized Unincorporated Nonprofit Association. This will give the DAO legal standing and protect its members from liability. And yeah, the last thing is this is a DAO built by builders for Cardano builders. And we really know that there's all these seeds out there that have these products. We want to pour gas on the embers and the fires and see which one explodes, because at the end of the day, if Cardano doesn't have enough transactions coming, or it doesn't have enough new users coming in, it's going to be an unsustainable ecosystem. And we're totally committed to transparency and looking forward to your questions.
Spot on, Logan. Good in timing. So just a heads up, we will be able to have everyone present that has been listed. We give you 3 minutes for feedback, and put your feedback pluses and deltas in the chat, or raise your hand if you have a question. And yeah, so the trade-off is 3 minutes, but we'll have everyone present that's been signed up for presentations.
I'll kick off by answering the question in the chat with Ken. I think Catalyst graduate funding mechanism is a really good framing for it. We're looking for those projects, those builders, those entrepreneurs and companies that already have a product and already have KPIs that they want to scale. They already have something that's working and they want to keep going. And this helps them confirm their operations, maybe make a hire or two and that type of thing. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Logan. So we had one question. Would it be fair to call this Catalyst 2.0? What are your target builders?
Yeah, I kind of already answered the target builders, that question. For the next one, there's some real concerns. Yeah, so the idea is that this new funding mechanism fits into the Cardano funding funnel. One thing I see is that it's dangerous to think of Catalyst as a jack of all trades and master of none, funding everything. So what this is meant to do is pull the bigger projects away from Catalyst so they can get funding from somewhere else, and those more community-centric innovation ideas can get funded through Catalyst instead of having those other projects dominate it. I haven't really read through the whole thing, but I want to get to as many questions as possible. And the other thing is, like, this is open. Look, if you meet the requirements, if you're someone the community trusts, if you have a application that's live and has actual KPIs, you can come join. This isn't like something that's closed, and we expect more people to join, which is why we have a surplus in the budget proposal. But we might knock it down if people want to thin down the budget, which I see there's a lot of feedback that's happening.
There's been a question, why should the community bankroll the next growth phase of profitable DReps instead of using that same funding to give newer high potential projects their first real shot?
Yeah, I think one assumption you have is that all these projects are profitable. And as an entrepreneur, I can tell you we are not. We are in this fringe niche industry where we are fighting to make payroll all the time. And if you let these core infrastructure projects that you think are profitable die, Cardano is going to be in really bad shape.
Okay, great, thanks. So keep your questions coming. And there's another question right there from Gintama. We have 20 seconds left. How many seconds? Yeah.
Which one? For Jenny's, it's because we thought this was pretty similar to Catalyst and it fit under this marketing and innovation committee. It could go other places. I think you could kind of argue it could go in a lot of different ones.
To that, can you hear me? Yeah, Logan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Just to Lloyd did answer that, but how are you making sure that this is addressing only innovation and not just continuing to your product, to fund your I'm sorry, your companies?
Yeah, so
go ahead.
I'll give a quick answer and then I can feed into the chat. So this will fund the operations of these so that these projects that already exist can try to scale. Look, I think this might encompass more than the marketing and innovation subset, but it needs to go somewhere, right? We need to make sure builders have the runway to keep building and build the applications that onboard millions and billions to Cardano so that the treasury can keep growing and have different use cases that are created. I hope that answered your question, and I know we can talk more offline.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Logan. And next is up Cardano Japan Renaissance. Cardano Japan. I'm not sure. Is anyone in the room to present that pitch?
That would be Andy. I'll check the participant list as well. Britta, I don't see an Andy logged in, so let's move to the next one.
Okay,
and maybe since we've now had 2 dropout, we could go back to the 5-minute Q&A, I suppose.
Okay, yeah, okay, great. Philippine Cardano Community Re-onboarding Project is up next.
That would be James and Nathan. I also don't see anyone logged in.
Yeah, I haven't seen them either. Should we go over to global brand strategy? Global brand strategy, creative campaign and global creative asset catalog.
That would be Jeremy. I also don't see anybody named Jeremy on the line.
Jeremy?
Yeah, these seem like these do, as somebody just posted there, these do seem like these are more like Eastern time zone ones, the Eastern and Asian time zones.
We're signed up for this one, but I would agree.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we just go with the next one then? Global brand strategy is not in, yeah?
Correct.
Cardano Builders Community. Okay.
You're on mute, Maureen.
Yeah, see you, Maureen, you're on mute.
Oh, please give me a minute to get my slide. Not a minute, but like a few seconds.
Yes, that's okay. And while Maureen's looking for slides, just a reminder for those in the room who haven't had their pitches on the list, there is another workshop in a couple of hours. And if you want to sign up to present your pitch there, you can do so. Yes, I've noted Alba. Maureen, let us know when you're done. And while waiting, please, if you have your feedback, it would be helpful if you could put the name of the pitch or whomever this is addressed to. Please keep your messages coming. Maureen. Yes, and Lloyd, thank you for putting that in the chat again. Sign up for future workshops and AMA sessions. Just put the link in the chat. Maureen, how are we set?
Okay, I'll just put the link in the chat. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Let us know when you're ready and we put up the timer.
Okay. I don't know if someone can share the slide for me on the machine because I'm on my phone. I don't know if that would work.
Do you have someone from your team?
I think I can do it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Great. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, and the timer are you ready, Maureen?
I am.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. So the problem is that Cardano is online. Okay, that's not a problem, I know. But when you're a developer in Cameroon and you're trying to build on Cardano, it's kind of a hassle. And now we have products on Cardano which are trying to help us get onboarded, use the services, and most of the products don't actually work for our use cases. Daniel, can you next, please? Sorry. Yeah. Next. Okay, so the local realities in Cameroon might seem like it's a problem here, but it also means that it prevents developers from building on Cardano. Now, we don't have up to 5 developers on Cardano from Cameroon. I know this because I have access to the group. I actually created a group where we try to gather people from all over the country who know about Cardano, and there aren't very many of us. But and the reason I identified is because it's actually hard enough being a developer, and it's harder to build on Cardano when you have all these tools that you need to use, which are not built specifically for your use cases. Even the wallets, most of them don't consider local realities. For example, you try to use your ROI and they reject your bank card. And that means that you cannot really buy ADA, right? Because how are you going to buy it? So I want Cardano Builders community is going to be a platform for developers in Cameroon to build apps that can actually unbank the unbank and not just floating around where we cannot use them. So that's a core thing that I'm trying to address. Please, next. So the solution is that for 3 months, we are going to have a 3-month bootcamp, and people are going to be taught on a little bit of governance, but mostly building on Cardano. So we are looking at 50 developers in a period of 3 months who are going to learn how to build on Cardano effectively. And how do we verify this? At the end of the bootcamp, every builder is going to be having a certificate from CF. Of course, that one is not directly linked to the building itself, but it's one of the verification methods which I provided. And we are also going to have DReps, at least 6 of them. And we have made sure that this is not going to just be a regular hub. Yeah, okay, sorry. So I identified a problem, and the solution was that we are going to have an on-site hub, which is going to be good. It's going to have good internet, good electricity, because we will use solar panels and Starlink, just so developers can come there and do their work. So this bootcamp is going to be happening on the, yeah, I know, 1 minute left. It's going to be happening in the hub, right? And after that, it's going to become self-sustaining. So we will be building other Please, next slide. We're building other DApps and doing consultancy. And also, I realized that such a hub would be really good. It would be hot cake because most developers in Cameroon are looking for where to go and rent out and work because the internet and the electricity will be a good point. So we are going to be giving subscription for non-Cardano developers per month. And also we'll build apps. So it's going to be self-sustaining after a year. And we will teach all the developers to build other dApps on Cardano. Oh, my time is up. So this is all I can put here. I'm sorry. I'm going to drop the drive link. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maureen. Thank you. Spot on. Please keep your pluses and deltas coming. We have 5 minutes for questions, and then we can answer them here. You can raise your hand. If you put them in the chat, please put which. Yeah, or to Maureen. Thanks. Great. That was your plus and delta. Thank you for that. Any questions? Anything that you're missing, anything that you're seeing is positive about this proposal? Raise your hand. Maureen, if you want to say something, you're on mute.
Yeah, there's something about MCC's proposal for hubs. So normally the hub, I noticed the budget for hubs is like 25K. And what we are doing here is completely different. We are building a hub that is going to have other amenities that most hubs don't have. We do have a hub in Cameroon, but it doesn't really do much of what I'm saying here because it doesn't have the amenities. The developers are not equipped, and really this. But I don't know if it falls for if MCC would. I don't know, but sorry, I figured that this would be a different kind of hub. That's why I did it as an individual project or proposal.
Thank you for the added clarity, Maureen. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Maureen. And there is a question from Nadia. And also, please, Maureen, check the chat. There's a shout out. And please, Nadia, raise your question.
Hi, Maureen. I love seeing your stuff. You're just always fill the room with delight. I'm interested in what because you are clear on this problem and you really thought this through. I'm interested in what kind of things you're going to observe closely. Like what things do you think you're going to learn from this that might inform other areas? And do you think this is something that could be replicable easily for other groups?
Yes.
How would you do that?
Yes. Yes. Thank you for saying that, Nadia, because the idea I had in mind is that from now on, a lot of hubs in Africa or in other places where there is no internet and there is no electricity, they could benefit from that structure, right? Because just having a hub is not enough. You need to have internet, and people need to be able to sit there with electricity and build. And the tools that are there, we need to be able to build our own tools that can work for us. So I think it can be replicated because well, the sustainability is a big part of that, and the fact that there's a structure which provides support to the developers, not just a building. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. Hold on.
Okay, thanks. Maureen, there's another question from John. Shouldn't this start as a hub use the depth of knowledge to get this started? Then, if it's successful as a hub, come back for more funding to grow the services provided?
Okay, that's a good point. So the proposal I put together, it has a various breakdown points. So the first phase where the hub is set up and people come and then they do the thing. And then the second, well, not do the, the first phase is getting the hub the structure set up. And then the second phase is actually getting tutors, right? And you mentioned about shouldn't it start as a hub? So how is the hub going to function? I don't understand. I don't know. You need teachers, and to get teachers for that would cost money. So I guess it would depend on what kind of hub you mean, and what exactly it will be doing. It can start as a hub, and it is starting as a hub. There's another question I want to answer. Kenrick, thank you so much for that question. So the very first DApp I hope we get to build is a wallet. I'm sorry, it sounds very strange, but it's a wallet. I've been struggling to buy ADA, and I just can't figure out the right wallet to use because they keep rejecting my payment method. So I want us to build a wallet. That's it.
Ooh, spot on. Thank you, Maureen. And please have a look in the chat. There's lots of feedback there for you, and also maybe some questions you want to answer there. So we're asking Alba. I saw Alba is back.
Yes, hello, thank you. How are you doing? I'm sorry for the misunderstanding of the time, but I'm here finally.
Good. Okay, let us know, Jose, if you want to share a screen. We put the timer up. You can also put the link to your pitch into the chat.
No, well, I will talk just freely and share some vision about Cardano and what we have been doing these years since we started in this ecosystem. So let's start the time when you want.
Let's go ahead. The time is already running.
I'm sorry. Okay. Well, my name is Jose Javier Yadicico. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I'm part of a team called ADA Solar. We have been responsible for the creation of the first Cardano stake pool in Latin America, physical bar metal stake pool. We have been working with the Cardano Summit since 2021. We open up I think, I'm not sure, I would like to confirm it, but in 2022, we did an agreement with one of the most important universities here in Buenos Aires, the National Technological University, after 1 year of work to open this prestigious university to Cardano. We bring an agreement with Cardano Foundation and this university, and we installed there the first Cardano node, probably in a public prestigious university, not only in Argentina, but in the region. And we organized this year the first Cardano Hackathon in Latin America with the IOG education team. This event was of such success that IOG copied this model for future hackathons with almost half of the budget for other similar events in other countries. Considering Argentina is one of the most expensive countries in the world today, it was such an interesting achievement. We repeated in 2024, and we are always thinking on what Cardano needs to push forward, to move forward. And as part of our vision, we realize there are thousands of blockchains out there, each of them focus on a different market sector. If we consider we are the academic blockchain by excellence, and we are competing with other blockchains, like, for example, as Donald Trump mentioned, United States decided to create a crypto asset fund with Solana, Ripple, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Cardano. And if we consider Ripple is the blockchain standardized for bank systems, Solana is the cheapest, fastest for non-mission critical projects like gaming, NFTs, and so on. And we should consider that our playground or our market target should be the critical or mission critical projects like digital identity, like academic registries, like medical registries, and start to position our project, our blockchain, for the time when these kind of projects arise, having the governments that will be at charge of deciding this kind of solution, because digital ID is not at private decisions, it's at government level decision. When this moment arrives, it's a common practice for governments to get support from academic institutions. So, which is the strategic plan? To position Cardano as the best blockchain in universities and specialized academic institutions around the world, following the initial Charles Hoskinson approach with the Edinburgh, Tokyo, Connecticut, and other universities. So following this vision, the Charles' original vision, we already open up the UTN. We are already working on Chile, University of Santiago de Chile, University UNAE in Costa Rica, other universities in Paraguay, Brazil. So we are already working on it without any budget at all. We already start to create a platform for the Cardano ecosystem. I will share with you in the chat a link to the Cardano map we are creating, where we want to share the ALBA network, where we will put the links for the institutions we are going to link. And the idea is to have everything prepared for when the moment arrives, when the governments needs to decide which blockchain they are going to use for massive deployments of critical mission, like I mentioned, the digital ID, projects where you can fail. If you fail in a game, like you are minting some NFT with Solana and the game hangs, nobody cares about that. But if some project for governments level fails, that will be a disaster. So in our vision, following Charles' vision, it's not difficult. Indeed, there is I'm sorry.
Sorry to stop you, Jose. Thank you so much for your presentation. Spot on.
Thank you.
And in the link in the chat, would anyone like to give pluses and deltas or has questions? Please raise your hand or put plus and deltas and your feedback in the chat or any questions. And if you do so, please address which pitch you're want to address this to. And we have 5 minutes for feedback. Yes, there you go. Juan, please go ahead.
Thank you, Brita. Jose, great presentation. And I just want to disclose that I'm involved with the project. I was involved in the presentation of the project in Argentina in December 2024. And also very enthusiastic about developing that here in the States, in Miami, Florida. We have a contact with FIU and we are working on that. Not sure if they are going to adopt the ALBA protocol, but the idea is that the concept is awesome, because the idea here is to decentralize the network as much as possible and provide a decentralized, no point of failure. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's what I'm involved with that. Going back to you.
Thank you, Juan. Any questions? Any other pluses? What did you like about this pitch? What are you missing? What are you concerned about? Giving it 2 more seconds to wrap up your thoughts. Maybe someone wants to come up. And with that, I think the next one is, while we're waiting for more questions, grassroots communities and small projects, networking and support.
Looks like that would be Lucas, and I don't see him logged into the call right now.
Yeah. So with that, I'm calling out again all the others. Cardano Builder. Anyone from Cardano Builder?
I believe that was Maureen.
Oh, that was Maureen, number 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have DAO and CBC, Cardano Builders.
That was Logan here. Do you want?
So then there is, I guess, Japan and Philippines are not on, and then also global brand strategy is not here, and grassroots. Those are the ones that we have left.
Has anybody joined the call that didn't get a chance to pitch that fits under marketing and innovation category that we didn't yet hear from?
Leonard, you're not sure?
Hey guys.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where it fits, so that makes it a little bit more difficult for me. So I did reach out and ask some folks their view, but I've not had any feedback. How are you for time, more importantly?
Sorry, how are we with time?
Yeah, if you have time, I can go through it, and if we don't, then I can leave it till the later session.
I think we have time, Danielle. What do you say? We're good with time.
I think that's fine to go ahead.
Okay, cool.
All right, Leonard.
So
we put you up. You have slides to share?
I'm going to just share my screen if that's okay.
Okay, sure. Let us know when you're ready. We put the timer up.
Okay, go first. Yeah. Okay, so
timer's
whenever
up.
Okay, cool. So what I'm sharing, first of all, can you see my screen? Please say you can. I hope you can. All right, okay. So what I'm sharing today is a protocol where we're looking at doing application level message protocol. So the reason I bring it up here is it covers a lot of different areas, you know, in terms of either DApp development, recent go live of governance. It could also cover campaigns which are being run through this committee, and it could even cover open source. I guess a little bit of history here. Most DApps surveyed from the viewpoint of Gartner have said the highest retention rate is actually applications for Web3 that have built-in communications. So 35% is the retention rate for those apps, 15% actually for anything below that. So there's a 20% gap when as apps do not have communications, whether that's one-to-one or group chat embedded. What we're looking to do here is actually focus on creating a toolkit and a protocol which is highly user-friendly, good developer experience, and allows us to leverage the recent hard forks, recent version 3 of Plutus, on-chain governance, and encourage the growth of communities by having that ability to connect all the way through from SPOs, leverage network, relays, all the way right up to the wallet holders themselves who will be able to participate in communications one-to-one or group chats. Okay. Again, down the road somewhere with the go live of our various ZK and L2s, really what that means is we suddenly have the accelerated mode of more of the off-chain processing, which means that having this protocol ready for those type of applications makes it even faster, because this type of communication protocol could be used for messaging relating to transactions off-chain. Why are we the right team? Well, I've been working with you guys for a number of years and building applications rolled out through recent hard forks. I've been working with over 40 dApps in the ecosystem, right up to the recent hard forks, bringing the whole blockchain ecosystem up to the Chang and Ploman area, plus working with application development right down to the code level. We've also got OG experience, so original gangster experience in wallets. Also working in cross-chain work with EVM and Ethereum compatible. Architectural experience in optimized networks. My own background is actually writing code. And yeah, on libp2p, message transport protocol, telemetry transport. So we've all the right ingredients to be able to build this. And also experience of writing SOWs to make sure we deliver what we said we're going to deliver. What does good look like? Okay, lower level technical stuff, not entirely exciting, but what it shows here is we actually are going to be looking to leverage recent technology has gone live within Cardano itself. So Ouroboros Genesis, just about to be rolled out, part of the project group we did last year. Peer discovery light version of this is actually out there. Encryption layer to be added, and we obviously have SPOs and we have wallets. So the good news is this is taking technology we already have, using our Cardano wallets and using our existing SPO frameworks and building on top of that, which is a positive way forward. What's good look like at a high level? So this is an example where we've just fleshed out a little bit more. You can see here we've got the low level, we've got Cardano SPOs, we've got this encryption layer, which is something we're going to add. And at the top level of this, we've not just got wallets, but we've got embedded wallets in social apps, we've got DeFi apps, and we've got more wallets and more wallets. Just an example, could be different implementations of wallets. Okay. Why is it worth the cost? Well, governance Cardano, we can leverage this protocol to build social use cases on top of the blockchain. We're focusing on a positive developer experience and taking our historic experience of not so good experiences, developer experience, and improving that. Enabling broadcasts relating to governance campaigns and Cardano growth makes the blockchain more sustainable. Again, a dedicated protocol independent of the blockchain network means that we don't block the network itself. So it kind of sits almost like a layer on top. DApps have the opportunity to build monetizable services and embed blockchain transactions. Good example here is around gaming and micropayments. So as you can see, it's really kind of a fairly mixed bag of solutions we're trying to target here. And this is the idea really is to build for the community, not build ourselves, but enable everybody to build different apps.
Thank you, Leonard. That was spot on the second. Thank you for your presentation. I'm opening up for questions and answers, but also for feedback, pluses and deltas. Please raise your hand. There is already something in the chat from Lloyd. Thank you for that. Are you planning to productize or place this into repositories and require ongoing support via OSO or others? Question.
Targeting the open source committee, there's a good opportunity here to build community in parallel with the build itself, Lloyd. And doing that means that we actually bring the community is going to sustain this type of development. The community can leverage it and can come up with use cases and extend the actual richness of the application. So I see this as being a win-win for collaborators to work with us, to actually own some of this outright, but also there is an economy for full node operators here as well to get in here, and if we can come up with a utility token, then this could actually be a second economy.
Right, thank you. And there's a request to put the link to your proposal in the chat, if that's possible. And also another question from Ken-Erik. This looks like wormhole for Cardano. Would that be a correct assumption, or did I misunderstand?
I'm sorry, I missed it. I had to switch speakers. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, so Ken-Erik is asking, this looks like wormhole for Cardano. Would that be a correct assumption, or did I misunderstand?
I think it's potentially a very light version, yes, but it's also looking at the developments on top of this could be around anti-spam and different use cases as well. But and also moving towards privacy at the communications layer, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Yes, just a reminder, if there's any more questions, please raise your hand or add them into your chat together with who you are addressing your question to. And I'm giving it a few more seconds, and you're still you're sharing your screen, Leonard, I think, just in case you're not aware.
I'm trying to unshare my screen.
It's okay. Keep your time. And are we good to go to the next agenda point then? We are good in time, so we can have a bit of feedback here. And the feedback would be what we are like. Are we okay to go to the next agenda point, Danielle? I'm just having a quick check.
Yep.
All right. So what we'd like to know from you is what follow-ups or next steps would you find most useful after today? What follow-ups or next steps would you find most useful after today? Putting this in the chat as well. Temperature check on each proposal, doing more of today. Okay, and then there's a hand up from Nadia. Please go ahead.
More of today is good. It's great to get me. It's really exciting just to see what everyone's doing and to get together like this. So I always really appreciate that. I think it would be great to, like, I got a couple pings from people with suggestions. That was extremely helpful. So it's nice to just keep the conversation going. And maybe from the vendor perspective, if people had things that really resonated with them, it would be nice to have those as comments on the actual proposal so that we can keep refining them and improving them.
Okay, good input. We'll also post a survey at the end of this session today, so please bear with us. Thank you, Nadia, for that. Yes, so there's reiterating that the best one place to leave feedback will be in government tools. That is from Danielle. Thanks for that. Thank you so much for staying with us here right now. And yeah, just putting up this question again. What follow-ups or next steps would you find most useful after today? Temperature check on each proposal, doing more of today, being sure that no other space or any other space meetings are at the same time. And just a reminder also, if you're here and you didn't get a chance to pitch today, there's still a chance to attend the next workshop in a couple of hours. And if you want to sign up to pitch your proposal there, you can go to Luma and sign up there. Thanks, Lloyd, for putting that up again. Luma Cardano budget process. That's the link to go to. All right, so since we've seemed to be at the end of your input, big thanks to being here and showing up, and also big thanks to all the presenters and staying up till now. I will now leave a survey link with you. Lots of links today. We will synthesize the chat and everything, so don't worry, this will all be kept. There's a link to Mentimeter to give your input about today's feedback, but you can also share it right now if you haven't done so.
And can I add one more link? Yeah, so we've also put together a Google form, so we're kind of curious whether this adds confusion or helps, actually. So we put together a Google form that allows DReps to put in how they feel about the proposal across different categories. So in a way, it creates a simple scoring. And if we get multiple DReps responding to it, we can then put some of that aggregate feedback into GovTool on behalf of the vendors so they can see a bit more of a synthesized view of feedback on the proposal. So I'll provide that link. We put the proposals at the top that we covered today, and then at the bottom, the rest that fell into the marketing and innovation category. So if you find it useful as a DRep, feel free to use it as a tool for yourself. And then if we do get responses, like multiple responses that we can aggregate, we will try to provide that back to the vendors as well. So it's a bit of an experiment to see if this is a useful tool for folks. So I'll drop that in the chat as well.
All right. Thank you, Danielle. Any other feedback that you want to share here about the format today, the workshop? proposals. Will the recording and chat be available? There's a live stream. Do we have the URL to that? Just a second.
Yeah, I can post that again. Give me a second.
All right, thank you so much.
Already got it.
So
Live
there's
stream.
the
Live
all
stream
right.
is there.
Recordings
And
also.
then I think for the chat, because there's a lot of useful information in the chat itself, I'll see if there's a way that we can send that out to the people who've registered for the events. If not, we will look for a different way.
Okay, thank you for that. I've saved it already. Okay. Can we call it a wrap? Yeah, okay. Nodding hats, thumbs up. Thank you so much. Team, asking you to go back into our room or debrief. Thank you so much, everyone. And I may see you in a couple of hours.
Thank you, everyone who presented.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you all.
This is
go
great.
back into
All the
our room.
best.
Take care.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
And
Great voltage.
I may see you in a couple of hours.
I hope all of you get funded in it.
Back
Thank
here
you.
in 7 hours if you miss us, Mark.
This is great.